Alrighty. Howdy, folks. Let's turn that down a hair. Alright. What you see before you is a template. Carries a bunch of card information. The data currently in this sheet is just sort of stock data to show templating. It has the normals, it has Turnaloose's front side ability, it has Baelcor's flip side ability, which is there to show templating, which I'm honestly wondering, why did I use a character ability? Oh, right. To make it clear which way the costs are templated. Which is not clear at all, considering, but that's fine. I'm eating right now, so no camera. Sup, Marco? Alright, let's see. I'll probably also be going back to TTS a few times, since looking at existing card shapes is a lot of what I do for this sort of thing. Hey, Trev! Well then, friend and honored guest. Let's see. What is it? I don't know the name, obviously. Hello, freak. Greetings and welcome. Yeah, I'm not sure, like, is there like a iconic monk that's good for a name? That's kind of my first question. Like, Shototo is apparently a super iconic black mage in the lore. The inventor of Meteor and all that. I don't know if there's a comparable... Pardon me. Do you want to go with that, or do you want to go with, like, your character's name? Yes, Marco. Yeah, totally. Rolger. That's a great name. Well, for now, Marco, I'm still eating, so I'm gonna go ahead and say voice calls are out for now. Which do you prefer between the two, Trev? Appreciate? Or between the three now, okay. If you have a preference, I mean, we can decide later. But yeah, the concept is Final Fantasy XIV Monk. I'm relying on my friend Trev, who has actually played the Final Fantasy XIV one, to provide input here, since I've never played Final Fantasy XIV. But yes, I mentioned the Shitoto custom, so he brought this suggestion to bear, and I thought this sounded like fun, and asked if he minded if we did it on stream. Alright, so... Offensive tanks with little defense but intense health values. That sounds right, yeah. They're also cheap to equip, which is nice, at least in most of the FF games that I've played. Attacks that change stance, mini attacks can only be used in certain stances. Okay. Neat. Let's see. So obviously Shitoto, well, maybe not obviously if you haven't seen Shitoto in action, but Shitoto was actually built as a stance character. Implicitly. She has a normal mode and exceed mode, which are set up to work that way. Let's see, who do we have that are... Galdra doesn't count. I think Tourney is a reasonable example of this sort of playstyle. Season 1 only has Bellicor. Don't mind me, I'm just pulling references on the side. Okay, so I guess the first question is... Or actually I should say... Here's like a viable possible thing, right? Or right, like a shape, right? The shape of this is... Why am I using placeholders? You actually sent me this stuff, didn't you? Okay. Oppo. Is one form. Raptor form. However this is pronounced. So these are like major features of the class. So boot shine basically has to be an attack. Because it looks like iconic. Already have cards? Not really, no. No, I'm looking at the, yeah, exactly. So it looks like the natural combo for the character is, like, Boot Shine, True Strike, Snap Punch in that order. Like, cycling through the three forms. So I'm just gonna throw this out, and it may not make any sense, but let's just see. type today. Okay, at this point. That is not capitalized. So like, whoop. Oh, it has to go the other order, doesn't it? Good lord. This word. Why? An Exceed character is not made with the UA in mind specifically, no. It is made, or rather it can be, but like it's supposed to be what is, it's a larger scale than that, at least in my opinion, right? It's like, you know, large scale concepts. This is gonna feel clunky, but that's alright, I'll try. So Boot Shine puts you in a Raptor, True Strike puts you in a Coral, Snap Punch puts you in a Opo. So let me look at what these things actually do, right? So yeah, okay. Boot Shine is the, what do you call? Is this the gap closer, or is that a different thing? Okay, thanks. So we gotta have that too. And that might not have a boost. Or it might be different than this, I don't know. But okay, so the idea is shoulder tackle, boot shine. Oh, so boot shine doesn't need Opo Opo. Okay, sure. Yeah, up to you if you want to be in a public call in the level 99, or you can call me via DM. What? Either way. Basically depends on how much you care about Marco barging in. Testing?
Alright.
Hey! Alright. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My voice connection looks spotty, but it's probably fine.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to mute the stream so I don't have to listen to you twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And myself as well.
Oh, yes. So, I don't know if this is like a paradigm that you think is sensible, but this paradigm would be like the character attacks specifically shift them into stances. I guess it's a little bit weird with normals though.
Yeah, it's. I've been trying to figure out a way to get it to function that works in Exceed, you know. So far, I feel like you've come up with a decent kind of framework.
So let's see. Yeah, the alternative is that we one alternative would be, instead of making them just be continuous boosts and work within that system, we actually make a separate subsystem that is like, it doesn't it's not a continuous boost, but it just becomes your active form, and you set it aside, and that's your active form. And whenever you have a form, you discard the old one.
Yeah.
So that's another viable means of doing that.
I'm curious about like so Bootshine as an example puts you in raptor form. What if it had a boost that is raptor form, right? Like that is it's the boost on the card
Hmm.
that you maybe can't do anything with as a weird boost that you can't actually play. I don't know.
The way we typically do that is by doing something very silly with the cost, like making it cost 3.
Yeah, making it just a super high cost on the boost, but you
Yeah.
can put it into play for free if you connect with the strike
Yep.
itself.
Exactly. Yeah, we have precedent for that on Heidi from season 1. She has a 4 cost boost. You are never expected to pay that cost.
Yeah, I've still seen people pay it.
It's true. It is legal. No, Marco, we're not making transforms because transforms would be permanent, like, and they'd all be permanent. So the idea is this is a thing that you kind of cycle through each one. So that'd be a way of doing that. So I guess what are the attributes of the forms?
The forms themselves actually don't really do anything other than allow you to use the certain attacks,
Okay. So
right? Like Bootshine does not have any requirement of one, but it does better damage if you are in Oppo Oppo form when you use it. But True Strike and Snap Punch, you must be in Raptor form or Coral form, respectively,
okay.
to use them.
So wait, does anything require Oppo Oppo?
No.
Oh. Okay.
The ones that have anything with Oppo Oppo just have a bonus if you are in that form when you eat.
Okay. So I'm just gonna make Oppo Oppo like a bonus that's boring, and then so Bootshine puts you in a Rapture, which you have to be for True Strike. Coral puts you into, oh, sorry, True Strike puts you in a Coral, which you have to be for Snap Punch. Um, so let's see. Something kind of dumb here. I'm just thinking about what I would make this look like. So like a range 1, that's not range. Range 1 thing with hit, retreat 1. And then this would be like a range 2 exactly thing. That's like good, but not very good unless you have a lot of speed suddenly.
Yeah.
And then okay. So Bootshine, is Bootshine the one that flips you over, or am I still thinking shoulder tackle?
So
One
Shoulder
that you
Tacker.
flip over them and you are then behind them. Is that a thing?
No, Bootshine has if you're in Oppo Oppo form, it has a bonus if you are behind them when you hit
Oh,
them.
okay. Cool.
But that's not really something you can do very well in Exceed.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this needs a shape kind of like this. Which is a slightly awkward but kind of guardy, like reasonably reliable thing. I don't want to make any of these super reliable, because super reliable makes the +3 power go crazy. And you
Yeah,
need
and
multiple copies of everything, so.
yeah, that can end up being weird.
Maybe I do this. Okay, so then True Strike. I don't know how weird this is, but let's see. Whoop, not 55.
Why not?
It's wait, we're not Akuma here.
Just
I s-
50.
Yeah.
No problem.
Someday I will deal. Were you present at the table at the time on Saturday that I dealt 20 damage? Were you there at the time?
I don't think 20. I think I heard at least some lower numbers, like in the high teens, but
So
not 20.
oh, okay. Well, I guess I didn't deal 20. I had 20 power. and then he blocked, and he spends all of his force, and he still got stunned because it was a 20 power attack.
Yeah,
Because
like
that's awesome. But yeah,
there's not a whole lot you can be able to do.
I intentionally just ate 13 damage off of one of Akuma's attacks, and then hit back for a 20 power Nether Storm as turn loose because it's just better that way. It's just the right way to do it.
I mean, yeah. I figure Guile might be able to stop that.
Yeah, he has plenty of force. You're not wrong.
Because you can just have a handful of cards and be like, okay, well...
I'll spend this 10 force, and then I'll spend 4 more force, and we're good.
Yeah.
Just for kicks. Okay, so Bootshine is not a super reliable attack here. I feel like it should be more reliable. I'll make it... I don't know, I like it better here. So, is this the cycle that normally happens, by the way? Like, you cycle through these 3 attacks, Bootshine, Trade Strike, Snap Punch? Or is there other stuff that's more emblematic?
Those are like because you have, there are basically 3 cycles, or no, sorry, 2 cycles that are 3 separate attacks each, and basically there's one main one and then one other main one that you do separately. They what's the word I'm looking for? You just alternate between the 2, basically.
Okay.
So I figure one of them is fine because we don't have enough room for all of them.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so one main cycle here, and then shoulder tackles, gap closer, and then some other special to be another special thing.
And these are also the simplest of the ones, because like Bootshine, True Strike, Snap Punch, they all basically just have, okay, I do damage. The other 3 are like, where is it? Like Dragon Kick, like does damage and also reduces target's resistance to my attacks by 10%. And another one that has a damage over time effect. And
so I threw 1-inch punch in there just because I was thinking of what that looks like in Exceed, and we actually have a 1-inch punch in Exceed, and it looks roughly like this. So this has I'm putting no defenses on it because looking at the list, it requires Raptor form.
It does.
And I'm making Raptor have the +5 guard, which makes your, attacks that have low speed and no defenses way more reliable.
Yep.
Okay. So, Bootshine is currently not super reliable, but it sets up Raptor form, which makes a lot of things decently reliable. True Strike could probably stand to be a little bit faster there. And then it sets up specifically... yeah, I guess that's fine. A range 2 threat, which is mostly Snap Punch, but could be, Spike or Sweep, because those are reasonable things to have at speed 6 and 7.
Yeah.
And then Snap Punch just throws power into play so that you can then play whatever you want. But that might be fine, because it sounds like Oppo is just like, sure, have some power on whatever.
Yeah, I think that works.
Okay. Probably stand to make that a little bit cheaper. Yeah, like the existing things that do these are both cheaper than these. The only reason I'm making them expensive is to try to encourage the player to use the UA. So shoulder tackle is big gap closer. I don't want to make it a super big gap closer because it sounds like this character is going to be decently terrifying in melee.
Yeah, we're already looking at, yeah.
Lots of good power values, which completely coincidentally have gone 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because that's definitely not a tendency that I have. Not a thing at all. Yeah, that's probably fine. Okay. I guess I can make it 6 and resist that tendency.
Yeah. Alright, so Looks
other
like we have
nifty things?
5 specials.
Yeah. You told me about like elemental form or elemental, not forms, but whatever's. And
Yeah,
grease lightning.
so they have Fists of Earth, Fists of Wind, and Fists of Fire.
And fire is straight up damage. Earth is damage reduction. Wind
Mhm.
is
And Wind is speed increase.
speed. Okay.
And all of those can translate pretty well.
Yeah, those are all pretty easy actually. Hmm. Do you think I should leave Oppo form? It feels like Oppo form would do double duty then.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Should I change it to Fist of Fire or should I leave it Oppo form? Which is more like the thing that you'd expect to see.
Right now I like Oppo form,
Okay.
but we'll leave it as a thing to keep in mind as something that can be looked at or changed.
Cool.
I think.
Okay, and the elements are just Fists of X?
Yeah.
That's the... okay. Wind? Was one? Reasonable numbers, sure.
Yeah, sure.
And then Fists of Earth. Whoop, we don't have soak. We call it armor. Right. Long game.
Not quite BattleCon.
Is it athematic for somebody to be able to have both Earth and Wind in play at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
You specifically, in Final Fantasy XIV, if you have Fists of Wind active, you are 2 active. And works for all of those. Like, if Fire is active, you can't have Earth or Wind. Got it. So on and so forth.
Okay.
And activating one cancels any others that are currently active.
Okay. So, I feel like it's probably too much work to make it explicitly like that, but I'm just gonna...
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put them on cards that want them and see what happens. You know, actually, we can just make this literally the Zangief boost.
Zangief boosts are good.
Yep. Okay, and then what does Grease Lightning do again?
Okay, so Greased Lightning has 2 effects. One is it increases damage you deal by 10%, and also decreases cast time and time between auto attacks by 5%.
Okay, so more damage and also faster.
Yes.
Okay, so that's pretty good. And how do you get it? I saw various attacks said that they granted stacks.
So any attack that would put you in Opopo form grants you a stack of Greased Lightning.
Oh. Okay.
So basically the 3rd attack of any chain.
Okay. I have a silly idea for this. There. I can type, I swear.
Huh. That's an interesting idea.
I don't know if I won't like that after effects. I have no idea what the ultras are going to be, but just like there's a
Yeah.
kind of shape for grease lightning. Presumably, it would have to be free, otherwise it would be really terrible value because you have to hit every single time. But if you can chain your hits, it gets really, really crazy.
Yeah, that starts to spiral very quickly.
Yep, we're making Schecter from BattleCon. This is fine.
This might end up being a problem, but
It's fine. She's balanced. We thought she was overpowered, and we buffed her, and now she's balanced.
yeah, that's how that works.
That's how that works. Completely okay. Okay. I have no idea what should go in the last slot. And actually, what are the ults? So you told me one of them was the ult that all melee DPS has.
Okay,
Limit break, rather.
yeah, so limit breaks. Let's find the page on the limit breaks real quick. Alright, so the level 3 limit break for monks is called Final Heaven.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
That is great. That makes me happy as a Final Fantasy VII nerd. Alright.
Yep. And where most of the other monk attacks have like, okay, this attack has a potency of 140, 160, 150. Final Heaven and has a potency of 9,000.
9,000.
Yep.
Okay.
So clearly we can't scale it that way.
No. So I'm gonna start like this, and then I'll make it fairly cheap, and then I'll say something like that. I feel like I don't want to be at range 1 against this character ever.
You really don't.
Okay. And actually I think I would be pretty okay with having that be the thing with Grease Lightning on it, with that Grease Lightning effects.
I don't think we made Geef, but we might have made Geef better.
We made fast Geef is what we did.
Yeah.
Each continuous bosat you have in play. Okay.
Which, Fast Geef is arguably better Geef.
Fast Geef is, yeah, very, very scary Geef. That said, no ignore guard. We do have an ignore armor. That might end up going away. But
Yeah.
the fact that you can block them is a good thing.
Yeah. But the Ignore Armor is, like, it fits with the flavor because Windham Punch in-game is a stun.
Okay. Oh, cool. Perfect. It's also unsafe unless you have Rapture form. So,
Yeah.
unlike Geef, who has a speed 5 ignore armor and guard, with power 6 or maybe 8 because Zangief.
Yeah. Because he's very rude.
Yeah. Oh, he also makes you discard a card at random because why not?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So we made Zangief Schecter. Cool. So what's another ultimate-like move?
I would probably say Tornado Kick.
Make that 3. Okay. Oh, that's right. That's like the payout for all your stacks, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I might have to put that effect on Tornado Kick instead. Yeah. Okay, well here's an even dumber idea for Final Heaven then. Let's make that tornado kick. I'll make the printed damage a little bit saner. A little saner. Not a lot saner. Nah, it's fine. And then here's an even dumber Final Heaven. Whoop. That's not quite templated correctly. There we go. That's balanced, right?
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Yep. That's at least a 5-gauge ultra. That is
Yeah.
a really dumb ultra. Actually, no, not before, because I want speed to apply. So when you reveal this attack, that doesn't actually work because that works if it's invalid, and that's dumb. Okay, I'll keep it before then. I'll keep it before. All right, and you'll have to deal with speed yourself.
I mean, you could have said it as, like, when you reveal this attack and it is valid.
Yeah, I just don't like doing that because it's awkward.
Yeah, it is kind of.
And there is no templating for that right now. Like
We
we
make it.
I mean, we can do that. It is a custom. That's within our power. But yeah, I would prefer to, I'm always going to try to go for things that at least there's some kind of precedent for.
Yeah,
So
that makes perfect sense.
yeah. So before put all continuous boosts from discard pile into play. The great thing about that is that you have now a close 2 on one of your continuous boosts. So this lets you jump in suddenly. Okay. How much power can that get? 6, 8, 10? Okay, I'm gonna print that at 1 power. Because... yeah. I have some concerns about this.
I mean, 5-gauge is potentially hard to do.
Yeah, so Tornado Kick will be more like that. So that's still very strong.
It feels a little weird to me to have Tornado Kick have a lower printed power than Snap Punch.
Fair. Let's see, okay, Snap Punch is that's right, it's the 267. Just make everything 5s. 5 is a good number. So, I'm looking at the numbers on Snap Punch. Snap Punch with, a Snap Punch is assumed to have +4 speed, if you're playing it. And
yeah.
257, is about as good as you get on an EX special. And so at 6 it's magic because that means you EX it and it breaks sweep. At 5 it doesn't break sweep, which doesn't necessarily need to. I mean, it's still very, very good. Tornado Kick, I can just make the power not scale, and I can make this a lot higher. Yeah, having speed for every continuous boost in play still feels pretty good, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So now Tornado Kick is like highest printed power. The character has no gauge generation, but extremely good ultras, so this might actually be fine. We'll find out soon, I guess. And then I have no idea what to put on this Ultra Boost, and I have no idea whether Snap Punch needs any text. Honestly, it might not need text. I guess it resets you to Boot Shine, so it could push. It feels weird to push them away, but it might be thematic.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, I don't know what Snap Punch should do.
Its default is limited attack potency of 150, 170 if executed from the flank. That's not something we can do.
Not really, but we, find the shapes that we're using. Who else has this? Somebody else has this. So that's basically that. Why can't I think of who has a speed 5 closure from turn 1? People do. I know they do.
I'm certain of it.
Oh, Selinka. There we go. Selinka's the one. Okay, so that's a Moonfall. Which is actually one of the scariest attacks in the game, just because of its hit effect. So let's see. So this is a 1-inch punch, as we'd expect. This is a Moonfall. Arguably better, except it doesn't have the hit effect, so it's fine. Oh, Snap Punch should have the knockdown effects, I think. That feels like a reasonable identity for it, because that actually makes it Purifying Chime is the shape that that has.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if any of these words are making sense, just because I'm just saying what I'm thinking directly.
Well, I mean, as long as you type it out, I can see it on the stream and go, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and also part of it is that I'm on Tabletop Sim at the same time, and I'm just literally pulling together all the different cards that are similar shapes to the ones that we're using.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, here's kind of a kit of what this character looks like. So there's 1-inch punch. True Strike. What the crap is True Strike? That feels like a Bison card. It's 1, 3, 5, 4, 5 guard. Retreat 1. So it's meant to be used at range 1 instead of range, but it actually puts you at longer range. This feels bad. Why did I write this? This is a bad card.
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, I'm looking at chat. So yeah, Ashlyn says definitely the correct UA.
Yeah.
Advanced bonus and crossover. I don't know which one you're referring to, Ashlyn.
I assume probably... Because I think we were talking about Snap Punch at the time, that it has the bonus on flank.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, hit advance 2, if you move past the opponent, etc. would be... Well, there's no reason to say if you move past the opponent. I mean, there is, but there isn't, because the only situation where you don't move past the opponent in that case is if you use it against a cornered opponent. So,
yeah.
Actually, you know what would be more fun is to make this 2 to 3 with hit advance 2. And then... Because that sets you back at range 1, probably. No, definitely. Always range 1.
Yeah.
And then either the opponent must discard a card at random, or if you move past the opponent, they must discard a card at random. I don't know which it needs.
I mean, we could test it with 1 and see how it works.
Yeah.
And just note that we could change it to some...
Yeah, that is now, I think, a Tatsu. That feels like a Tatsumaki. But who has that? Akuma? I think that's Akuma's Tatsu. That is halfway between Akuma and Ken. Okay. It's a Kenmu Tatsu. This is fine. Okay. Yeah. Because, yeah, okay. We basically spliced those 2 cards, apparently. That seems reasonable. Okay, so True Strike. And Retreat 1. I feel like I made a bad True Strike, and I'm not sure what to do with it. It's just kind of a vanilla hit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Boot Shine sets up, that sets up this sets up that. I'm also thinking about how if you do... also trying to think about the interactions if you go out of order, which that'll become a lot more obvious once we start playing, and it's like, oh, it turns out if you just do it in this order instead, it's incredibly busted.
Yeah.
That will totally happen. But
I expect it to be honest.
Yep. Okay, so I feel like True Strike should just be... it has to be undercurved because it's supposed to need Rapture form. Okay. So actually I'll do this and make it hilariously slow. Yeah, and then hit retreat 1. Feels like it'd be something wrong with what I did this thing. This shape doesn't feel right, and I can't figure out what it's supposed to be. So I'm going to switch over to looking at the cards that exist currently.
Alright.
Because it feels like we're making some very Kin and Akuma cards. Which is cool. I like these characters.
I mean, it makes sense. The monk is kind of pretty much a martial artist.
Yep. So like, not Hadoken. That one does not fit. Okay. So like, those are the two Tatsus. Zugahai and Axe Kick are the two guard breaks. These are whatever the crap they are. Who knows? They're weird. So our Tatsu is... what the heck was it called? Snap Punch. Which is kind of a mix of both of them. I wonder if I can overlay this on the stream? Maybe I can. Let's find out. Okay, partial credit. Okay, I'll just use like this part with the window. It's fine. Okay. So Bootshine is actually almost certainly a Bison card. It's like Sliding Kick or Somersault Skull Diver or something like that. Which is supposed to be like a fairly safe way to set up range. It's like Hyakishu, except that it's completely dissimilar to Hyakishu and they're different cards.
Good description.
Yep. Exactly the same stat line, very similar effective ranges, but opposite purposes, because Bison's is like supposed to be a fairly safe way to set up your preferred range. Akuma's is basically just a safe way to ignore counterattacks. And also it's another guard crush, but then again, with Akuma everything's a guard crush. So
yeah. If he's not guard crushing, he's not doing his job.
Exactly. Like your guard is not allowed to matter. That's just life. So Bootshine is our setup move. It gives us guard. True Strike is an unsafe move that needs guard because it sets up Snap Punch, which is then kind of the payout that resets into power, which is the real payout, I guess. So maybe True Strike also is just very similar to Bootshine. Yeah. With guard on it, that can be a pretty good, reliable thing. So back we go. Okay, so the less safe one does a little more damage, has a little bit more range. They both have hit effects that are about repositioning for setup. Um, honestly, I can make this an after, and it would work just as well. Yeah, that's probably fine. Okay. So let's see. Sceptical suggested on Final Heaven a boost that's +1 power for every 2 boosts you have. The one issue being that this character doesn't mostly stack them. They stack Grease Lightning, but they don't stack anything else.
Yeah. There is a kind of ultimate ability that monks have called Riddle of Fire,
Okay.
which
Go
its
on.
ability in game is increases your damage dealt by 30%, but decreases or increases weapon skill recast time by 15%. So extra power, but you're slower.
Okay. Hmm. Oh, what was that other thing you said that monks never use? Chakras?
Oh yeah. So there's an ability called Meditation, which if you're using it in combat, you're using it wrong.
Got it.
Uh, unless it's downtime, because raid bosses and stuff will have times when they're doing things and you can just walk around and use it anyway. But once you've used it 5 times, you have an attack called the Forbidden Chakra.
Hmm. Okay. Is this actually a thing that is used, or...
The Forbidden Chakra, yes.
Okay. That sounds like a really cool name to put on an Ultra Boost. Hmm. What if it was like this?
And I agree with that.
Wow. Okay. That...
Interestingly enough,
Mhm.
there is with that effect, there's an ability amongst perfect balance that allows them to use any of their attacks, even if they're not in the correct form for it.
Huh. So... So that's actually what this is.
Yeah. Or form shift. Form shift is it puts you in the next form in the sequence. If you aren't in a form, it puts you in Opo form.
Okay. Huh. Okay, so... Now I'm wondering about the Exceed mode, and it sounds like that might be a good way to go with that.
Yeah, monk rotation can get pretty interesting.
You may put a boost from your gauge into play. Yeah, I'm allowed to break templating a little bit on character abilities.
Hey, I've been leveling warrior. Actually, was leveling my warrior last night. Responding to chat.
Yep. Cool. After play, sustain it. Sustain it. Okay. So I have no idea if that is balanced, but that would let you, yeah, as an after pullback, something that you already hit with. Well, I guess there's one weird thing is that I just realized. The original after means you don't build gauge. In fact, you're really bad
Yeah,
at building gauge.
I was thinking about that.
Hmm. You get stats, but in return, you're super bad at building gauge. That's kind of interesting, but like a problem.
You darn near only build gauge with normals.
Yep. Yep. Hmm. Well. Uh, I don't know. It could still be worth it if the attacks are decent enough, and they all are situational in a way that makes them like playable, but not optimal. Like shoulder tackle is super reliable. Um, all right, let's just say your special attacks after you may, so you're not actually locked out of getting gauge.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's still fine. So you can always choose to take the gauge instead of the boost if you prefer. Let's put that before. Okay. And then the Exceed is even more gauge hungry. But I guess that is kind of the thing that you would do, is you decide if you want to be aggressive. This actually makes me think of a Season 1 character named Reese, whose primary decision space is, how do I exceed ASAP? But part of it is, there are times that it is actually acceptable to use his frontside ability. His frontside ability costs a gauge to use, which means he slows down the how quickly he can actually exceed, which is like an extremely bad thing. But there are times that it's actually like the right decision to make. So this looks like a character where the vast majority of the time you actually don't want to exceed because your ability is perfectly good. But sometimes you might decide that you want to exceed because it turns out if you can get, or at least build gauge, because if you can get 5 gauge, Final Heaven is hilarious.
Yeah. Like, Final Heaven could just be all kinds of silliness.
Yep. Okay, well at the moment, do you see anything about the kit that you would super duper want to change?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, this brings us now to the hardest part. The most difficult task. Finding arts.
Yes. Well,